I could eat a whole bag of these crisps.
Hello.
Hello.
How's it going?
Good.
What's the hand movement?
The waves.
Back again. Oh, wave after wave.
The waves.
Slowly drifting.
Slowly drifting. Wave after wave.
How have you been?
I've been good. How have you been?
Very good, thank you. Up to anything exciting? Oh no, I've got to go again in the wrong order. He's George.
Oh yeah, he's Angus.
Welcome to Start for 10.
Yep.
Same as always. This is how it usually goes. We forget how we actually start our own
Every
broadcast.
single week.
What have you been up to?
Nothing that interesting.
Good.
Just normal, you know, just life, work.
A little bit. I kind of like that. If you've had a quiet week, that just means that...
No punctures.
Yeah, nothing good. Nothing bad. Just another...
Yeah, just no news is good news.
Another week closer to your eventual demise.
Exactly. 1 week closer to death.
Good. That's what we like.
Yeah. And you?
Yeah, I've been really busy. I've been good, thank you. Yeah, I've been away
Good.
for the weekend.
Lush.
Been to the gym and, you know, how it is. New year, new me. Starting in February.
Yep.
Back working
I
on the
haven't
rig.
started yet.
Joking.
I haven't started New Year, new me yet. I might when the weather gets better. Maybe I will. Maybe.
I wouldn't bother if I was hard work.
I need motivation.
Okay.
Oh no, we're not starting that again.
Right. I think I'm ready to get started.
Yeah, I'm ready. I'm ready to go. Chris, I was going to talk about Chris.
We got...
No, jump in the gun.
Yeah. Just admire this gentle fade.
That was good. That was really good. It's as if you had a little fader dial.
Anyone would think that
Or
this
a fader,
is produced with a fader.
Or a fader.
Yeah, almost like a real fader.
An actual fader. Oh.
But actually, it's not.
Fader.
It's not produced with a fader.
No, it isn't. We don't have a mixer.
Right, are you ready to talk?
Yeah, yeah. This week,
the beer is bought by Hop House 13 Lager, which is a Guinness product.
Yep. It's nice. Really
real
nice.
nice.
It's been around quite a while now, hasn't it? I mean, Guinness brewed lager for years under the name Shield Lager. No, Harp. Harp Lager. Yeah, but this isn't that. This is different.
No, this is different. I'd say this is for
last couple of years, isn't it?
Yeah, this is for the modern gentleman.
It is a modern.
It's a modern
lager.
thing.
It's almost an IPA. Well, I would say it's more of an
really.
IPA. They brand it as lager, but
it is an IPA. It's very nice. It's not like one of those craft beer IPAs that you have with all those citrusy with the fruity thing.
Yeah, no,
going
you don't.
on.
You don't
There's
have
no
the citrus.
fruits here.
Can't smell citrus.
It's hoppy. It is hoppy, but it's good. And this is on tap in our local.
Yeah,
That's how I've discovered this.
Yeah, and I still haven't tried it. Because the trouble is, they have they change their beers around every week. Well, that's more than that. Every few days
that's
they change.
A lot of people drinking them.
Yeah. So I always just try a different beer. I never get round to trying Hop House.
But Hop House is good.
But now I know. And crisps.
Chris, we're back to the old standard.
They are the best.
Co-op.
They are the best.
The strongest crisps in the world.
We've tried a few recently.
Mm-hmm.
We went on a bit of a voyage.
Voyage of self-discovery, and all we came back to is that the co-op are doing it best. So
they just are. They're the best.
They are. So yeah, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So yeah, sorry, we can't bring you any news from the world of crisps because we think we may have found perfection.
We have. No, I think we have. If anybody knows of a brand or a particular type of crisp,
or something that's worth trying,
that is worth giving a crack,
yeah,
let us know.
To knock off this pedestal though,
but it's a hard act to follow.
I mean, every week the pedestal gets a little higher.
We go with the like salt and vinegar. I don't think you can with a beer. I don't think you can beat it.
You can't beat it. Right, we'll get started. I did things a bit differently this week. I had two really good news stories, and I couldn't decide between them. So I thought, rather than letting George decide, I'd put it up as a poll on Twitter.
Let the people decide.
Let the people decide, so we can become a bit more interactive. So not only can you complain when we do things wrong, you can also decide how we start.
Yeah.
So this week, the two options were a Buddhist monk who was arrested in Myanmar with 400 million meth pills. Yes, you heard that. 400 4 million meth
I
pills
was going to say 400 million is
in
quite
his
impressive.
car. It was
4 million in his
yeah,
car?
Well, he had 400,000 in his car, and then loaded back in the monastery. But anyway, the people have spoken. That is not where we're starting this week.
Okay.
We are starting with the bored RAF pilot who sent 187 passengers into a nosedive because he was busy playing with his camera. So basically, right, this is great.
That doesn't sound good.
An RAF pilot was flying nearly 200 service personnel to Afghanistan
Jesus.
when he sent his passenger jet into a nosedive when the camera he'd been playing with jammed the flight controls, a court-martial hearing has heard.
Bloody hell.
Essentially, you know when those big grey... It looks like just a Boeing... It looks like an EasyJet
like
plane.
a 747 or
It's
whatever,
like it looks like an EasyJet
grey.
plane, but grey, and it's an RAF one.
This must have been a couple of years ago.
Yes.
As well.
Yeah, but obviously the hearing is now, is why we're hearing about it. The Voyager aircraft plummeted 4,400 feet in seconds. Passengers were pinned to the ceiling of the plane. It basically descended.
Why weren't they? I suppose if you unbelt,
they descended so fast they were all pinned to the ceiling.
Jesus,
they were all
Christ.
left thinking they were going to die.
Fucking hell!
Flight Lieutenant Andrew Townsend regained control of the 197-foot wingspan aircraft. He allegedly lied in both a technical log and service inquiry, insisting the incident had been caused by a technical fault.
Better off telling the truth.
Absolutely. Turns out it gets. This
so
is
what
where
happened?
It gets really good. Yeah, this is where it gets really good. The flight lieutenant was bored while flying from the UK to Camp Bastion.
Well, when you're on autopilot for 16 hours, I imagine it does get bored.
And he decided he would practice long exposure photography.
Wow.
While his co-pilot left the cockpit to get a cup of tea.
How's he managing that in an airplane? What is there to take a photo of?
He's obviously taken a long, out of the front window, like a view with all the blurred clouds and whatever. And to be honest, fair play to his artistic eye, I imagine it could look amazing.
True.
His Nikon DSLR camera was pointed out the front of his armrest and it became jammed with the plane's controls when he moved his seat forward. In the incident during February 2014. The camera wedged between his armrest and the side stick, a joystick used to control the plane, which pushed it forward, disengaging the autopilot and causing the plane to nosedive.
Oh dear.
The descent was so unannounced, the passengers experienced weightlessness. They were thrown to the ceiling and thought they were going to die. This all happened while he was alone in the cockpit. The co-pilot managed to get back to his seat, as he was in fact on the ceiling.
How did he manage to get on back to his seat? That's ridiculous. Walking up the ceiling.
Basically, so the guy's got a cup of tea in one hand, he's sucked to the ceiling, and he's clawed his way back to the seat to gain control of the plane.
Jesus Christ.
During the nosedive, Flight Lieutenant Townsend repeatedly swore and later announced to his... Yeah, we'll let him off on that one. Later announced to his 187 military passengers he was not sure what caused it. Both he and the co-pilot were pinned to the ceiling and wrestled the controls.
Maybe he wasn't sure, though. To be fair, in the moment of...
In the heat of the battle.
He might not have known, especially if he was kind of thrown around a bit, he might not have known what the hell was going on.
Flight Lieutenant Townsend later deleted the photographs he had taken immediately before the incident.
Maybe not. Oh, brilliant. But surely they have cockpit cameras, surely, in military aircraft. They must do. It's standard in commercials now, I think.
Yeah, well, it is after the whole French mountain incident.
They record everything that happens, so they can see your hand movements and that.
I'm just skimming through the rest of the...
Jesus.
The co-pilot suffered a cut to the head, a fractured back, a prolapsed disc, and nerve damage.
Jeez.
The court heard that 14 passengers were so badly hurt they were unable to fly back to the UK.
Jeez. Crikey, yeah, that'd be terrifying, wouldn't it? You'd think, though, those... that planes would automatically pull up again if
You'd think that they would have some sort of...
Maybe if it got to a certain height, it would have levelled or pulled.
But you'd think... I'm with you on that. It seems mad.
I thought they did, though, because I once watched one of those airplane crash,
reenactment, how did it happen?
Yeah,
jobs,
kind of. I can't remember what you call it, but there was this one in Russia or something, and the pilots, it was like a 747, whatever. And it was nosediving for some reason, and the pilots were pulling the joystick back, trying to pull it up, or not. It wouldn't have been a joystick; it would have been controls.
Handle.
They were pulling it back, trying to bring the aircraft back up, and they were just failing for whatever reason. And the crash investigators basically said if they'd have just let go and let the plane do its thing, it would have righted itself.
Yes.
So it would have wound up level, and then... then they could have done it. But then I suppose if it was still jammed on, then it would have been jammed on. But you'd still think, even if the joystick was all the way forward, it wouldn't let you crash.
You think so?
Where would the logic be in a hard dive crash? You would surely, as a pilot, you would never do that.
Yeah.
Although you'd do it for a period of time, maybe if you were trying to extinguish a fire or something. But
I never thought. You'd think that the preset would be like
a period of time, a few thousand miles or whatever, and then that'll be
2,000 feet.
Feet, yeah, and then that's it. And then it would pull back or right itself at the very least.
You'd think, though, that why would a plane of that size have the ability
to nosedive,
to be able to get itself in the situation to pin all its crew to the ceiling?
Well, in the instance that there's an engine fire, I think that's what they do, isn't it? They dive to starve of oxygen.
But then you'd think that there would be like an override button. That would be like a special mode, as opposed to
say, right, do that.
Yeah, you'd have to do a special mode as opposed to.
Yeah, I suppose.
I just can't see it. Well, here goes my question to you.
Or maybe they just think pilots are smart enough that they would only ever do it if they needed to.
Yeah, they wouldn't be trying to take long exposure photography from an armrest
in a cockpit.
I can see why they're bored, though. Do you have any experience of nosediving planes 4,400 feet through jammed controls?
Well, no.
Didn't think you did. Do you have any other experience of jammed controls? I've got one I can think of. A good one.
No, I don't think that's ever happened to me.
We were on the school bus coming home once, and when the school bus comes into Chudley where we lived, we used to go up around this turning circle, and the buses used to be, we used to come home on like 60-seater coaches every day.
Yeah.
So the buses had to go up this hill and around a turning circle, and they were pretty sure there was no traffic coming. So they would power around it and swing around really fast.
Yeah, they did.
Well, we realised that what you could do is throw fruit down the bus, and as the bus turned, it gave the impression that this orange suddenly swerved, because obviously it's a bit like, throwing a... It looks like you're curving the earth, but actually you're not. The ball is staying in a straight line. I don't need to explain that. Well, yes, somebody throws... I can't remember who it was. Somebody throws a Satsuma down the length of the bus. It bounces off a headrest and gets caught in the gaiter of where the gear stick is. Right? So the bus driver obviously slams the clutch and tries to take first or whatever to carry on up around this hill. And it just goes... And it just gets stuck. Like, he misses the gear. The bus is stuck on the hill. It was a disaster. And the bus drivers didn't used to take, they didn't have very good fuse. They didn't used to take a lot of shit.
No, there was only one or two, but the rest of them
were pretty savage.
Yeah, they were...
He fished the orange out of it, pulls the bus over next door to the doctor's surgery, and he's like, "Who threw the orange? If you don't say it, we're going back to school. Who threw the orange?" Nobody says anything. We return all the way back to school. Get a pull up in the car park, and then the inquiry begins on who threw the orange. Like it was some sort of identity parade.
Jesus. Was it that guy? Or because there were a few bus drivers, but there was that guy.
No, this was the guy who looked like he was wearing blusher.
Oh, him.
The one with the really
he was normally quite chill.
Yeah.
And Gil.
He was,
Gil
but that's
chill.
why he went... Who threw the orange? As opposed to sit in.
That's the guy I'm talking about.
Every time somebody stood
don't
up.
bang on the windows.
Yeah, or don't bang on the windows.
They were the two. Yeah. Yeah, I have funny bus stories. There's plenty of bus stories.
Oh my, that thing.
Yeah, taking the bus to school every day for 5 years. Well, more than that.
Yeah, more.
7 years.
7 years.
Ish.
And essentially, we probably made that journey 200
times,
200 times, and 200 days twice, 400 trips a year, 7.
Yeah, that's a lot of bus journeys.
It's like 2,500 bus trips along the same road.
A lot of bus journeys.
A lot of queuing for bus, a lot of waiting,
a
lot of waiting in the rain, a lot of kicked footballs under buses.
Yep. I remember getting really wet once. Once I got really wet, like soaking wet. Trousers soaked, everything soaked, waiting for the bus. Because there was no real shelter.
No, there wasn't.
Like,
no.
Where you wait for the bus in
And that old
Chudley.
myth that if the bus hadn't come by 5 to 9, you could go home.
Yeah, which you just did. Which it didn't come.
I don't think I ever actioned that.
Or get the 182.
Yeah, or catch the... Yeah, because then you get a bit scared that you were going to be missing, so you'd catch the country bus.
Yeah, catch the country bus. That's happened.
Oh, man. I just remember...
Stories.
I dropped a guitar down a set of stairs off a bus, and it was fine. From a double-decker.
How did you manage that?
Do you remember when we had a double decker for a time that I'm sure shouldn't have passed its bus MOT?
There were
a
few buses like
God,
that.
how where they used to get these buses from. And obviously
no
they
idea.
knew that they were doing the kids' runs. They used to buy deliberately horrible transport.
We're not going to name the company.
Yeah, because we don't get done for libel. But they obviously used to put the rubbish buses on those services because they knew that we were going to be throwing fruit. I remember, right, there was this one guy who was in our school for a while called Max Brown, and he used to fight with us on the bus so much that we used to keep a can of Lynx deodorant up above to use as pepper spray and spray in his mouth to subdue him. What the hell? And there was a piece of bendy metal up there that
just in case.
There was somebody had a shank. Not. That's too much. But I can't remember why. Where's the bendy metal? Why does that live with me?
I don't know about that.
Because it was a double decker. Obviously, upstairs there was no driver. Couldn't see what you were doing. And...
but I wasn't on that one. I was on K.
Oh, you were on a different bus to me.
Yeah, I wasn't on. You were on K10. I was on K13. I was I don't remember the numbers.
It was it was ridiculous. We just used to fight. We just used to fight on the bus.
There were fights.
Or just try and get on each other's chair.
Yeah, not like real fights.
And just scrap. And as you go around the corner, push each other as hard as you could. And
definitely.
Get a seatbelt in the coccyx. And,
Yeah, but they were good days.
They were good days. And if you actually think about how it was pretty mental, there was a surprisingly low incident rate, all things considered.
You think when none of us were forced to wear seatbelts?
Yeah, well, they used to come round and
they did
used
occasionally
to send a teacher
check
in to check the seatbelts. And as soon as you left the thing, they just unclipped them.
Just took them off. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, the school bus, man.
School buses.
Yeah, and then you used to go to the sweet shop when you came home.
Yes. Well, this is back in the days when Freddo's, you could just pick up change off the bus. Because that's the thing, if you was at at the back of the bus, you could walk along the bus and you would guarantee find 10p somehow.
Or somebody's wallet you if would that way inclined.
Yeah. You could scramble together 10p from the pennies people have thrown at each other. You could pull it together. And then into the co-op. Freddo.
Nah,
no faffing about.
I'm talking pre-co-op
Freddo's.
days. I'm talking chocolate
you're talking
box.
Chocolate box.
When Chudley used to have two...
Oh, my God.
When we used to have three...
We used to have three
sweet shops.
Three
sweet shops in the
candy...
space of 75 metres.
Yeah, the candy shop? No.
The candy shop.
No, it was candy...
The chocolate box, the candy shop, and the newsagents. Garbits, as it used to be called.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
It wasn't called the candy. It was called something...
I'm sure that more
in the chocolate box.
More stuff was stolen from those places.
Definitely the chocolate box.
The old granny who used to run the chocolate box.
Yeah.
And then when she died, and then they sold it, and then they were everything was free for that day.
Yeah, just get rid of it.
And they got rid of everything. I had 6 Lion bars on the way home.
I used to like getting mini marshmallows.
Oh,
because you could pay 10p,
30p, and have a
and
bag
get a
full.
rugby ball sized
White
bag, white paper bag of mini marshmallows. Just eat them.
You were all about
day.
value.
Or icing letters. You know, the icing sugar letters.
Stuff was
They're nice. I like
low
them.
mass
And
high volume.
I used to like rhubarb custards. They were good.
Heavy,
I loved aniseed balls.
Mm.
I was an aniseed ball fan.
I once bought 300 grams of cola cubes on my way to school.
Cubes.
That was so many. It was
them.
split across several bags. But I then had misinterpreted. I'd had a miscalculation that because I couldn't consume 300 grams of cola cubes,
quite a lot of cola cubes
before lesson 1 started, I had to leave them in my bag, and then 300 grams of cola cubes. Well, by this point, maybe 180 grams of cola cubes, I would estimate, had then bind together into one giant cola cube.
They weld each other together.
They were stuck together to the point that I then had to essentially bite chunks off the giant cola cube. It's a miracle my foot didn't drop off. And just diabetic
brilliant.
symptoms there and then.
Cola cubes are good. Oh god, there's some crackers in there.
Oh, but those there's a story here that the person definitely has to remain nameless. Definitely, right? Somebody used to do, I know really well, used to do a paper round from the paper shop, and we were only talking about this recently, and they got paid £14 a week or something,
God.
£12 a week. The wages were so low,
no money.
It was so low. It's awful,
Way below minimum.
so below minimum wage, and then. So, to make up for the shortfall in funding, they took the law into their own hands and would top up their wages with stolen goods while loading the papers in the morning. So they'd obviously go in to do the paper round at 6 o'clock when it
More
opened.
like Pritt sticks and
No, it became almost borderline organised crime. What happened was, obviously, when they were left in there with, like, oh, this is your bundle of papers, loading up their trolleys, while the guy wasn't looking behind the till, I almost said the name then. They were working their way through their shopping list that people had ordered the night before to steal to order. Right? You name it. Chewing gum, like the posh chewing gum. Trident Splash. I'm talking 5.
Oh, Trident.
Come to your senses. That gum.
Yeah.
All the expensive chewing
Mastication
gums.
for the nation.
Mastication for the nation. Big chocolate. Those £1 chocolate bars. Freddos, strawberry laces, you name it. Pick and mix, just a random selection. You name
Just
it, and
grab
then
it.
And in registration, you could collect your goods.
Wow.
So yeah, there was a borderline organised crime ring.
That is organised crime, I think. I think that's probably the definition of organised crime.
My argument for this is that if they just paid the person in question
definitely,
correctly,
he never would have done it in the first place.
They never would have been driven to crime.
He doesn't buy stuff in at the expense.
Let's not.
Well, the person running the newsagent doesn't buy the stuff in at the expense it costs to.
No, absolutely not.
So actually, they're probably doing him.
That newsagent was very strange, though. It had a very weird demise.
It did.
Then they
added a party room.
They opened a party room where you could buy helium balloons,
which
let's be honest, is a niche.
I'd love to know what he said to his business manager, or his account manager, or whatever, whoever was dealing with.
Let's be honest,
right,
George.
I'm gonna save the newsagent. I know what I'm doing.
Let's be honest. What kind of newsagent has a business manager? What kind of newsagent has an account manager?
He would at the bank. I imagine if he went to his bank
manager.
Yeah, but they deal with business management, don't they? I don't freaking know. I don't know.
So he's like, right, it's okay if I can borrow £17,500 because I'm going to
expand the business. I'm going to stop. Why? No, that's not necessarily male. Could be female. I'm going to stock the business.
He was male, the guy who made the decisions.
But we don't want to.
But actually, no. This is where the story then becomes more confused. The businessman, the owner of the newsagents, begun the when he opened the party store, he was male. He then transitioned into being female.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And then he lived in a caravan behind.
I didn't know he transitioned.
Oh, he transitioned, and then his wife still used to work. They then had an amicable split because of the transitioning. Yeah. Which, let's be honest, it must put a strain on all relationships.
That probably makes relationships quite hard, yeah.
I can imagine that it is...
probably would cause tension. Yeah.
And then she was living with her new partner, who was male.
Wow.
And he was living in a dress, in a caravan, out the back of the newsagents. It was and he used to do shifts in there.
I wonder why
it was very odd.
It fell apart.
And then, funnily enough, the business sadly folded.
It did.
And then also everybody remembered that you could still actually get a newspaper from the co-op.
Yeah.
So it didn't really have any redeeming features anymore.
It was always doomed, wasn't it, really?
Well, I think